It was the rice. You burned the rice the night 8 friends came to dinner, and you have not stopped tasting it for 3 months. You can rebuild the kitchen from memory. The window above the sink, the unlit candle you forgot to light. The pot on the back burner with its quiet smell of catastrophe just beginning. You can hear the door buzzer. You can hear yourself say something light, something you cannot now remember, as you walked from the stove to the door. The dinner went on for 4 hours. 8 people laughed. 8 people drank. 8 people, by the time they left, had moved on, in the way that healthy adults move on to the next problem in their own week. 3 months later, you are still in that kitchen. Tonight, we talk about the part of your life, possibly the largest part, that does not actually take place inside your own head, but inside the heads you imagine other people to have. 18 centuries ago, a Roman emperor exhausted from a long campaign on the cold edge of the empire sat down in a tent and wrote himself a private note by candlelight on the back of an army ledger. He never published it. He never expected anyone to read it after he died. The note went, in essence, like this. It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but we care more about their opinion than our own. Marcus Aurelius, Meditations, Book 12. He was the most powerful man in the known world. And he was, by his own confession, embarrassed at himself for the same arithmetic that has kept you, 3 months later, still standing over a pot of rice that nobody else can taste. Read the line again, slowly. We love ourselves more than we love other people. No one disputes this. You will, in any given hour, expend more thought on your own back pain, your own bank balance, your own ungiven speech, than on the back pain of the man on the bus next to you. But you will, in that same hour, give the imagined opinion of that man more weight than your own. That is the audit. That is the embarrassment. A stranger you will never speak to gets a hearing in the boardroom of your mind that your own 20-year-old self could not get past the secretary. The mathematics of it does not survive a second look. You do not care about the man on the bus. You will not remember him by Thursday. But somewhere this evening he is, in your imagination, leaning back, raising one eyebrow, deciding whether you are enough. And you are letting him decide. The contemporary philosopher Alain de Botton has a name for the cost of letting other people decide who you are. He calls it status anxiety. It is, in his definition, the dread that we occupy too low a rung on the ladder our culture happens to be climbing this decade, and that our friends, our parents, our former classmates have begun, quietly, to notice. De Botton's observation is not that we want to be admired. Most adults make a workable peace with not being admired. His observation is sharper. We want, he writes, in essence, to be seen as the kind of person whose dinners do not burn, whose careers do not stall, whose marriages remain, in the language of social media, strong, whose children remain, in the language of grandparents, doing well, whose holidays look, from the outside, the way other people's holidays look from the inside. We want most of us to pass. And the pot of rice on your back burner 3 months ago was, for one humiliating instant, evidence that you might not, that instant has not let go. Notice, however, who exactly is holding it. It is not your friends. You have already asked 2 of them. One does not remember the rice. The other remembers and laughed. It is not your partner. Your partner served seconds. The instant is being held 3 months on, with both hands by the version of those 8 people that you have built, alone, in your own kitchen, out of fear. Marcus's teacher, 2 generations earlier, had taught the same audit in flatter language. Epictetus, born a slave, dying free, opened his handbook with a single distinction that has, in 18 centuries, not been improved on. Some things are up to us, and some are not. What is up to you, he writes, is your judgment, your impulse, your desire, your refusal, and, in the modern translation, your private interpretation of the night. What is not up to you, and never was, is your reputation, the standing of your dinners, the verdict the room is or is not delivering as you serve the rice. Epictetus did not say you would not feel the verdict. He did not say it would not sting. He said only this: it was never yours to control. To pour the energy of 3 months of nights into something that was never yours to hold is, in the slave philosopher's flat phrase, not wisdom. It is agitation. The candles. The way you laughed when the door buzzer went. The wine you chose. These were yours. The verdict, what those 8 friends actually carried home, in their coats and their cars, and their imaginations of their own lives was theirs. You have, for 3 months, been guarding a house that does not belong to you against an army that never came. Try this. On your next bad night, the audit Marcus made of himself, in the dark, on a battlefield. It is 11 o'clock. You are awake again. The kitchen is clean. The dinner was 3 months ago. Ask plainly who is in the room with me, right now. Take a slow inventory. The friend you are sure noticed the rice. Is she actually thinking about you? She has a sister whose marriage is failing. She has a teenager who has not spoken to her in 9 days. She has a check engine light on her car. She is, at this instant, approximately as obsessed with your rice as you are with hers. The colleague you imagine has begun, quietly, to look at you differently. Does he have the bandwidth to look at you? He is rewriting his resume. He is fighting, on a chat thread, with his ex. He is wondering whether anyone would notice if he disappeared. The acquaintance, whose unsaid opinion has lived rent-free in your kitchen for 3 months, does she even know your last name? Your partner, who served seconds that night, has thought about the rice exactly once since when you asked, last week, whether they remembered. They did not. They remembered the wine. This is not an exercise in cynicism. It is an exercise in proportion. The ratio Marcus identified is real. We love ourselves more than other people, but we lend our scoreboard, every night, to people who have lost their own pen. You can take the scoreboard back, not by becoming someone who does not care, but by becoming someone who notices, in real time, whose verdict you are inviting in. Marcus's note to himself written by candlelight, in a tent, 18 centuries ago was not advice. It was a check, an accounting. A man, at the height of an empire, asking himself, whose courtroom am I living inside? You can ask the same question. 3 months ago, you burned the rice. 8 friends came. 8 friends ate. 8 friends drove home thinking, as people drive home thinking, mostly about themselves. The rice was rice. The 3 months, those were yours. That is the bill nobody serves you in real time. The second bill, the one printed in the ink Marcus saw by candlelight, that the largest theft in an unexamined life is not the loss of money or status or the dinner that did not go perfectly. It is the long, slow renting out of your own attention to a tribunal that, on inspection, was never seated. You will burn rice again. You will say the wrong thing at the wrong dinner. You will, over a long enough life, give people 1 or 2 real reasons to talk. And then they will go home to their own kitchens, their own back burners, their own 3 months, and your part in their evening will close. You were never the center of their story. You were a chair at a table on a Saturday night. You were warm food and a familiar face. That was enough. That has always been enough. The candles you lit were yours. The verdict, in the end, was never on the table. Good night.